A very warm welcome, everybody, to the drivers' press conference ahead of the FIA Formula One Canadian Grand Prix. We have our two groups coming your way, as ever. Group one with us now, left of screen, we have Lance Stroll, then Lewis Hamilton and Franco Colapinto. Now, Lance, please, let's start with you. Good to see you. Health update, first of all. How's the wrist?
Thanks. Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be home, racing in Montreal. And wrists are feeling good.
Now, we've been told by the team that there was a procedure that took place after the Spanish Grand Prix. Just how confident are you that there won't be a recurrence of the problem that you suffered last time out?
Pretty confident. Should be good.
Why do you say that? I mean, is it because you tested the car at Paul Ricard this week and it passed the test?
Yeah, just because it was bothering me for a few weeks. Over Imola, Monaco, and then Barcelona was just really, brutal throughout the weekend. And yeah, I got the procedure done and drove this week. And I was feeling pretty good, so I'm confident.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the issues are? Is it lack of movement with the wrist? Can you give us any details?
Yeah, it's just the old injury that I had with it a couple of years ago. Just started to bug me again, and so just got it sorted.
Well, I'm very pleased you got it sorted. Let's bring it on to your home race. With the updates that were introduced at Imola a couple of races ago, how confident are you in the car's performance here in Montreal?
Yeah, I'm feeling good about the weekend for sure. I think historically we've been good here as a team. We scored points here the last few times we came here, and it's a track I always enjoy coming back to. So yeah, just looking forward to it.
All right, look, very best of luck to you. Just out of interest, when did you first come to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
Long time ago. Was a little boy.
Short trousers.
Yeah.
All right. Look, good luck this weekend. Thank you very much. Lewis, let's come to you. Good to see you. Lewis, can we throw it back to 10 Downing Street? You were there last week. Just tell us about that trip, what it was about, and what it was like to go behind that very famous black door of the British Prime Minister.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Pretty special day. I was fortunate to have a call with the Prime Minister and just discussing the work that is needed within education and the work that we're doing at Mission 44, and him invite me down. And I said it's really important that we get young people in the room. So we brought some young students that are working within communities that are suffering in terms of kids getting expelled. So we had all these kids from different backgrounds come in and speak directly to the Prime Minister. And we're working on shifting several policies within education to include to improve school attendance, reduce exclusions, because I was one of those kids that was at risk of that and did get expelled. And yeah, it's just the beginning of the work I think that we're going to be able to do. And they're obviously very focused on improving education in the UK. So it was a really special day. I hope it's not going to be the last time through that door for sure.
What's it like behind the door?
I mean, it's I think it's a grade 1 building, so it's very old. You walk in and you're like, it needs like revamping. But it's you can feel the history when you go in there. It's pretty incredible. There's a staircase in there. It has all the images of all the prime ministers from back to the early 1800s. So to see that history, and then in the main room at the back where we sat around this table, the biggest decisions, like Winston Churchill would have been sat there making the decisions back in World War II, and so you could feel that, and it was incredible to be there.
The cabinet room. Let's bring it onto the on-track business now. Fred Vasseur said after the Spanish Grand Prix that both cars were carrying an issue. How much was it affecting you in the Spanish Grand Prix?
Massively, and unfortunately, the team necessarily don't want us really to talk too much about it. But we both had issues, and that were hindering us massively from halfway through the race already. So what I didn't know is whether or not we had that problem, but obviously I said on the radio that it was the worst feeling car that I'd ever had, and it truly was with that issue. And at the end of the race, I was kind of like, geez, I've never experienced something this bad for such a prolonged time through a race. And it wasn't until after the TV interviews I get back to the engineers and we find out there was an issue. So it was a bit of a relief to hear that, because definitely didn't feel so terrible afterwards.
All right. Thank you, Lewis. Good luck this weekend. And Franco, thank you for waiting. Let's come to you now. It's been a tough few races for you, that triple header. What have you learned so far during your stint at Alpine?
Yeah, they were tough. They were not, of course, maybe sometimes as I was expecting. I was expecting to do a bit more progress after Imola, but it's always tough to get back into F1 after 6 races of not being there. Their drivers learned a lot, tires, management, and when you are not driving, it's sometimes a bit tricky. But I think it was really good this week off to get back with the team, to get back reunited together and understand the issues, understand what we have to do better, where we were lacking some pace, and where I can improve as well. So it was good. I think it was a good break, and hopefully it brings some performance for now.
How different is the team, the Alpine team, compared to Williams, where you were at the end of last year?
It's very different. I think, when I came into Williams last year, the only comparison I got was that I never even drove another Formula One car. I didn't draw another car either. So it was my only comparison was that, and I couldn't really compare it to anything else. Whilst now I've got that. In Alpine, I'm learning a lot. There is many good things. There is some things that are different. The car is very different to drive as well, and it's just getting up to speed with that and trying to understand what's the quickest way around it.
Well, and what are your expectations here in Montreal? I mean, both drivers on the podium here last year. Is that something
here?
Yeah. Is that something you can dream of this time around?
Last year, that was Brazil. Here,
points.
Points. Yeah. Well, points would be great. I think if we can, get back up there, get a bit more of the performance of the car that I'm sure it has, I would be really happy. So I think first we have to start by getting to where we need, focusing on us, and then think about the rest.
All right. Best of luck to you as well. Let's now open this to the floor. We'll start with the broadcasters. Who's first, please? Mara.
Mara San Giorgio, Sky Sport Italy. I have a question for Luis. Luis, today 2 important Italian newspapers have attacked Fred, opening some question marks about his future. What do you think about it? What idea do you have about these rumors? I know that you have just arrived in the team, but what moment is the team going through?
Yeah, I mean, I was just made aware of it just before I got here, so I've not read the stories. It's definitely not nice to hear that there's stories like that are out there. Firstly, I love working with Fred. Fred's the main reason I'm in this team and I got the opportunity to be here, for which I'm forever grateful for. And we're in this together. We're working hard in the background. Things aren't perfect, but for me, I'm as I said, I'm here to work with the team, but also with Fred. I want Fred here. I do believe Fred is the person to take us to the top, and so that's that. So it's ultimately it's nonsense. What people have written. Most people don't know what's going on in the background, and it isn't all easy. Like it's not like it's all the smoothest sailing in the background. We are having to make changes, and it's a lot of work to do, and there is naturally a lot of pressure because we want to win, but that's not any part of the discussion at the moment. So
Thanks for that, Lewis. Yeah, David.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Another question for Lewis. You've overcome many challenges throughout your 19 years in Formula One, and this year's been another challenge. So this weekend, a track that you love, that you've done so well at, do you need a really big weekend to give you a boost for the rest of the season?
I mean, I don't feel like don't feel that I'm searching. I mean, of course, a good weekend is always a good thing. But I don't feel like I'm in desperate need of one. I think it looks a lot worse outside than it probably is on the inside. Still, even just coming from engineering now, how they set the car up compared to any other year that I've been here is completely different. And having discussions with engineers to change things. There's a certain way they like to work. It's to say, just hold on a second, that doesn't actually make sense. Like, this is what I've done for the last 17, 18 years here, and it's worked in a lot of them. So getting those things, consistently working with the team and making sure you're working in a constructive way to make changes. The car is very much has a real sweet spot, and we're trying to get it working at all the tracks, which everyone's having to struggle with. I'm hoping this weekend can be strong.
Thanks.
Laurent Dupin from Canal+. A question to Lewis. You have a couple of things in common with Jean Alesi, being a Ferrari driver and having your first win here in Canada, as he did exactly 30 years ago. Do you have any memories about this win of Alesi here? And can you take a few words about him?
What year was that?
Jean Alesi in 95. So exactly 30 years ago.
I don't know where I was then. I was 10. No, yeah, you weren't here. I don't remember watching that Grand Prix, if I'm really honest. Maybe I was racing or something, but I've always been a big admirer of Jean. He's one of my favorite characters of the older drivers. He's always been so kind and polite to me. Which is not always the case. And then obviously with my first Grand Prix win here was pretty epic. And I was just talking to my engineers. We just watched the qualifying of 2007 or my lap, for example. And that was actually the race where back then with refueling, the two cars were often separated by a couple laps of fuel. So one car would get the lighter fuel, and I'm sure in some teams it alternated, but because Fernando was the world champion, he'd always get the lighter fuel. And so, I was carrying often a tenth and a bit, probably at least a tenth of fuel every time we went into qualifying up until this race. And I remember arguing after Monaco that I want equal opportunity and equal chance. And they gave us equal fuel, and then I got a qualified pole and then won my first race. So it was one of those moments where you really have to fight for what you listen to your intuition and really fight for what you feel is right. And that was one of those high moments for me.
Thanks for that. Who's next?
Tom Slade, Federación Spain. Question for Franco. Fran, the first 3 races with Alpine were difficult for different reasons, but now you had 10 days to reflect on them. Can you talk us about the process you had going through your mind maybe during these days, or how was the preparation for this Grand Prix?
Yeah, I think it always helps, to have a little bit of a break after a couple of races. And I think to get in a triple header, it's always difficult because you don't have enough time to change things and to change enough things, because I was used to something so different, which didn't give me enough time, I think, between races to kind of reflect enough on it and learn and understand exactly what we need to do. And yeah, I really trust that. I think this break was really good for us. Hopefully it brings some performance back. And yeah, we can be a bit more competitive. Hopefully I can find a bit that confidence I had in the car last year and find a way around it a bit more.
Thank you for that.
Question for Franco, Juan Fosolori from ESPN. Franco, you don't know this track, but last year you did a new Azerbaijan and Singapore, and you performed very well, like also in Austin. Do you think this track maybe suits you a little bit because it's like a street circuit or something like that?
Yeah, we'll see. I think 3 free practice, it's enough to learn the track. Of course, to get up to speed quick, it's gonna be very helpful because we have a lot of things to test, and we need that time in the free practice. So hopefully we can get up to speed quick and then see. But yeah, it's kind of a street track, and that always brings a bit more emotion to us, the drivers. And at the end of the day, to drive an F1 around here, such an historic and massive track in the history of the sport, it's very cool.
Thanks, Franco. Any more from the broadcasters? Any more? No more? In which case, we will now go to the... Yes, one more. One more. Dave.
Yeah, just a question for Lance. Is it your right wrist that's causing you problems? You haven't taken your hand out your pocket since you got here, and I wondered if that was a consequence of the wrist injury or what.
Yeah, it's my right one. A little bit, but it's feeling good.
Yeah, firstly, thank you for watching pre-race press conference of the Canadian Grand Prix with us until the end of it. I wanna say just thank you for your interest on this video, and as always, I need to say sorry to being at the right bottom of the video and bothering you with my video on this press conference, but as always I'm saying I must do this because of the YouTube rules. I'm sorry for that. And we had a press conference with Lance Stroll, Lewis Hamilton, and Franco Colapinto. As always, I'm just going to comment a little bit about the first part of the press conference, and I'm not going to comment anything about that second part of the press conference, the questions, the media questions of the press conference. We just started with the Lance Stroll. I hope for him for good recovery with his health. As you know, he had a problem at the Spanish Grand Prix. He didn't attend, and as he said, like he's all right, and he just is focused on the Canadian Grand Prix, and maybe we will hope to see a good performance from the Lance Stroll. As you know, as always, he was not talking a lot or to say anything interesting about this Canadian Grand Prix, but let's say, as I said one more time, just I hope for him good performance and a good chance on this Grand Prix. And we had the questions to Lewis Hamilton. As you know, he was at the UK with to have meeting with the Prime Minister for the education at the UK. As you have listened to the first part of the press conference, we need to say thank you for the UK people to Lewis Hamilton for his for that good work, for that hard work, and the other stuff that they had with the UK Prime Minister. And just he was talking about that Ferrari, why he was actually overtaken by Nico Hülkenberg, and he said that he had a problem with their car, and also Charles Leclerc had a problem with that Ferrari. He said they realized that they have a problem with the car after the interviews. As you know, we have listened before 2 weeks actually, Lewis Hamilton after the race, and he was just complaining about the car, and he was saying that the car was actually the worst Ferrari car ever that he was driven by Lewis Hamilton. But definitely we just understood why Hamilton got overtaken by Nico Hülkenberg, and where was the actually problem with that car. And we had the let's say second time rookie Franco Colapinto at Formula One Alpine team driver Franco Colapinto. He was just asked a question about the difference let's say between the Alpine and Williams team. And also he was saying just there is a very big difference, big difference in mentality, big difference in the car and the other team differences between them. And as we said also in the other videos, like we are hoping to see him long times in Formula 1 and to hope, let's say, to have a lot of points, to have some big races at the Alpine, and maybe to make any movement to the other, like let's say, bigger Formula 1 teams. I am not going to comment much more about this press conference. I'm going to leave the second part of the press conference to our viewers to comment what are their opinions, what are their thoughts, and of course to not to forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel.